Maria Fisher. I have a retail women's shoe store selling brand name women's shoes. I do not create the shoes, even though it's called Cobblers. Don't do shoe repair. I am featuring other cobblers in my store. So I have brand name shoes like Sam Edelman, Via Spiga, Taryn Rose, Kenneth Cole, Betsy Johnson. So I have a mid-price women's shoe store. And I started my business in 2017. This is my second act. I am a retired RN and from the federal government after 30 years. So I retired. They offered early outs at the job. And so I took the early out. I was approved to take it. And so and I always love shoes. Being a nurse, your feet are very important. You want comfortable shoes. You're on your feet a lot. You stand around a lot and you're walking a lot, and your feet are so important because when my feet hurt, it seems like your whole body hurts. And so I always wanted comfortable shoes, but then I wanted them to look good. And then I also have big feet. And so I wanted to have a shoe store. Well, like I said, I always loved shoes. And so I wanted to open a shoe store, and I had this opportunity that had fashionable women's shoes in a mid-price range. And so my average price of my shoes are $150 and up. And so I have a saying in my, you can't go cheap on your feet. Operating in the retail shoe space, I had a lot to learn. And so my husband is retired from the Navy. And so I was able to take advantage of some of the veterans entrepreneur training. And so I went to a veterans entrepreneur boot camp at Florida State that was for 8 weeks. 6 weeks was online, 2 weeks was on campus. And they opened up their business school to all of the women and family members who attended this Entrepreneur for Veterans boot camp. And their legal, their contracting, it was a intense boot camp of business school for opening and starting a new business. We had to do pitch contests to pitch our business. We had to write a business plan and just everything, a marketing plan, everything we needed to do to get started and do it in the right way to open a new business. So I started my business in 2017, and I opened a brick and mortar store in 2018. And going through the boot camp, and I also used the Small Business Development Center here. I live in Calvert County, Maryland. I used them a lot to also help with all the licensing and the regulations that I needed to make sure that I was legit with my business. And also, since I opened a brick and mortar store, I had building, because I had to do a build out here in my store. And so to make sure I had all of that with the building codes and all of the licensing and permits that I needed to do for that. And I opened in May of 2018. And I also joined the trade associations for footwear. And I also joined the Chamber of Commerce. I joined the local chamber here in Calvert County. I also joined a Minority Business Alliance here in the county. And I also joined footwear associations. So there's a National Shoe Retailers, NSRA, National Shoe Retailers Association. And then there's also several footwear associations of New York. And like the shoe retailers, the NSRA, that's for independent shoe stores. And that's what I am classified as, an independent shoe store, because I'm not a franchise and I'm not a brand specific shoe store. You know how you can go into different shoe stores and they just carry the one brand, or so I'm not affiliated with a brand, I'm independent. And I just carry a multitude of different brands. And so starting this shoe store, it was a labor of love because I love shoes, and you learn a lot, especially when opening a brick and mortar store with all the building and contractors and the permitting, and some things you wonder, doesn't even make any sense because they were almost acting like I was opening a restaurant because I had to go to the health department. I mean, it was a lot. It was a lot just to open a brick and mortar store, and especially doing a build out. And so I did that. I opened the store on May 1st of 2018, and everything was going well. I have not been profitable, but I was doing enough to cover some of my expenses. Because I am retired, I did have some income, and so I had to use my retirement pension to supplement some of my expenses here in the store. But it was coming along, and I was building my business slowly and steadily. I did have to. This is all, of course, prior to COVID. I was offering. I would do events in here. So out of the chamber, they have an offshoot of a women's business group. So I would host events here with the women's business groups. I had last holiday season, the Minority Business Alliance hosted their Christmas gathering here. I've had a breast cancer event here. And so I've hosted events to make people aware of the store and to bring people in so they can see what I have going on in here. And also, as far as my marketing, I did direct mail. Of course, I did social media. I have a Facebook, Instagram, and a Twitter. I don't focus on the Twitter that much, but I do post regularly on the Facebook and Instagram, focusing on two social media platforms is enough, I feel, because it is a lot. And I also have a web page. Now, initially, before COVID, with my web page, it was just informational because I was not doing e-commerce. Because once you make your website transactional, of course, your costs go up. And so initially, I was not an e-commerce site. It was just an informational website. And of course, I would post pictures when I had events and different things like that in here. And I also, starting this business, we used our own personal funds, me and my husband. And with me retiring, I got a buyout. And so I used my personal funds to start this business. And going to trade shows, because in 2017 is when I was really trying to infiltrate the shoe business as far as getting the different brands here in my store. And so talking to the different brands and going to the trade shows, and I mostly went to the trade shows in New York initially. And a lot of the brands, of course, they're trying to protect their reputation. They won't let you carry them initially. You have to be open for a certain amount of time. And it was a lot of maneuvering to get the major brands into the store. And when I started going to the different trade shows, it was just so surprising to me how many men are involved in the women's shoe business. And of course, you also, and just in how many men are involved in women's fashion. And so it was like, there's not enough women representing what we want to wear and look like. And so I really thought that was very strange. But yeah, there's a lot of men in women's fashion. And as you all know from the big designers and stuff, most of them are men, or the big fashion houses, most of them are men. And that's really surprising to me that not enough women are in women's fashion. So I got some major brands in here. Like I was very happy when I got Sam Edelman and Taryn Rose and Via Spiga. And what happened with Taryn Rose and Via Spiga, I just got them at the right time because they were relaunching. And so they wanted to get out into as many independent boutiques and stores as they could. And so I do this full time. I don't have any employees. I do have family and friends who help me. And so like I have some girlfriends who would come in and work for me on the weekends and different things like that. And so we were using the barter system because they would definitely work for shoes. So that has really helped a lot. But me not having any formal employees really hurt once COVID hit. And so after COVID, I shut down. And while I was shut down, I had to start my e-commerce site. And with my background in nursing, I also, when I was still working as a nurse, I had been a nurse for a long time. And so I was in an administrative position in quality. And then I went back to grad school and I did nursing informatics with the electronic medical record. And so I was pretty savvy with the computer and tech. So I built my own website and made it transactional. And so to have my shoes on there on cobblerscreations.com. So of course that was a lot of increased costs, and with the web hosting and even for credit card processing and different things like that. And so the whole time I was shut down from March 17th through June the 1st, I was building my website. And you realize, with your images and making sure you have clear pictures of your shoes, and it was a lot building that website. And that took those whole months while I was shut down. But of course, in that time period, I had no sales or anything from the business. The beauty of where I'm located, I'm in a little strip in my local county here in Calvert County, which is a rural community. And my strip, this business shopping center that I'm in, it is locally owned. It's not owned by a big development company or real estate development company. And so this is a locally owned strip shopping center. And because I was always a good tenant and I always paid my rent on time, my landlord really worked with me to give me rent relief during those months. So for April, May, and June of 2020, I did not have to pay rent. And that was a blessing. And I was very thankful for that, because I had absolutely no sales, no nothing. And I was spending money getting the website up and running. And of course, I still had my utilities and everything here in the store. So after COVID, it has been literally falling off of a cliff as far as my business. My sales I have had a 90% drop in sales. And because just friends and family members have pretty much shopped online, I've gotten a couple of random purchases online from people I don't know, but most of them are from people I do know, because this has just been such a night and day change with my business. I initially, when I opened, I wanted to have a nice, elegant environment for people to come in and shop for shoes. So I, come in, I try to make sure it was well decorated. I would, offer you like a Pellegrino or something, just so you can sit, relax. I had tried to have nice music and stuff playing, and just a good environment to come and shop for shoes. And like I said, I used to host a lot of events. That, with me hosting events, that did increase my cost to obtain and acquire a customer. As far as my marketing, like I did say, I did direct mail. I did a Comcast spotlight. It's called Effective TV now, but I did do a Comcast spotlight. And I also ran a commercial in the movie theater. And of course, social media and the local newspaper. I also put things in a local newspaper. And I did a lot of networking because with me joining those different groups with the chamber and the women's group and the minority business, and there was another group called Bay Business Group that was down here. They have since disbanded due to COVID. I went to a lot of events and tried to network and, you know, pass out cards, let people know about my business and different things like that. So that was how I was doing a lot of my marketing. And of course, running those ads, doing the TV spots and the movie theater, it was very, very expensive. And I really didn't see a big return on my investment. And I even went to some of the larger Black churches in this community. I went to a women's tea, they had vendors there, and I set up and did that. And I made sure I had contact with everyone who walked through that door. You know, I gave them like little shoe deodorizers or different things like that. So I tried to do a lot of networking and different things in the community to let people know that I was here and that I existed. And I didn't see all of the work that I did and all the money I spent on marketing. Did not really translate into sales. But when I would have an event here, it did translate into sales. But again, my cost to acquire a customer was so expensive. After COVID, with me totally shutting down, the business has not recovered. And I don't know what's going to happen after this. My lease is up here in my building in May of 2021. And I do have another option on my lease to do another 2 years if I want to. And so I don't know what I'm going to do if sales don't recover, because even this holiday period, my sales have not been that great. I do have a few really good customers who are very supportive, and they, you know, they purchase well, and they get what I'm doing in here and the quality of the shoes that I carry. But my foundation with that customer base is not broad enough yet. And so I think slowly and steadily I was building a good customer base, and then COVID just put a halt to everything. And I don't know if I'll have enough time to recover to get back where I can eventually be profitable. Because even 2021, things are still not really going to be on track. It won't be till 2022 probably before everything will get back on track. And in the meantime, I cannot afford to be paying this amount of rent and all of my expenses. And you know, you have to get new inventory. Even though the shoes are beautiful, they're not museum pieces. They need to be bought and worn and moved out, and I need to rotate my stock. And you can't constantly mark down because there's not a big margins with shoes. With some shoes, it can be 40 to 60% is your margins. And so like when you go to a store and they have the shoes 50, 75% off, they're not making any money on the shoes, and they're just hoping you're going to buy enough of something just to move it out. And then my costs have also gone up with tariffs. The consumer, the customer pays the tariffs. So I get my shoes wholesale from the brands. I pay for the shoes and shipping. And all of that with the tariffs, that I pay that. And so I have not passed that on to my customers, but my costs have gone up. So that means my margins are less. And I would say with my shoe inventory, about 75% of my shoes are made in China. I would say about 20% are made in Italy, and the other 5 is between Vietnam and Portugal and Spain. And of course, the ones from Italy are even more expensive than the ones that made in China, even though the ones that are made in China, they have sourced their materials from Italy. And they move their manufacturing to China to cut down on their costs. But with the current environment, with the trade and tariffs, that has really hurt the bottom line on my margins. I think one of the big wins that I've had is once you become an entrepreneur and you're running your own business, I don't ever see myself going back to work for someone else again, because it is such a freeing experience. It's hard because you are everything. I am, my website manager, I'm my social media person, I'm my marketing, I'm photography, I'm janitorial, I'm my buyer, you're everything. But you know the decisions that you're making and the risks that you're taking, and it's all on you. And then when you have customers come in and they appreciate and enjoy what you have created, because it is, when you start a business from scratch, it is like you gave birth to a child. And so you seeing your baby developed and everyone is appreciating what you are creating and putting out there in the world is the biggest win. And it's so rewarding when people appreciate what you are doing. And then of course, I love people. And so I love entertaining. And so I just love having that here in my boutique. And of course, now with COVID, you can't entertain, and I can't, give you a Pellegrino because I don't want you taking your mask off. And I have chocolate here and everything, and with everyone working from home, they're not wearing shoes. I tried to promote my house shoes and my mules and different things like that. But when we closed down in March, I had just gotten in my spring summer shipment and prom and special occasion shoes. And so because in the shoe business, you order 6 to 9 months out for, several seasons ahead. So like for right now, the beginning of December, I would have been going to a trade show, making my order for the summer and the fall. And I would have been getting in my resort shoes, because in the spring or winter, people are going on vacation. But now everything is all topsy-turvy. I've canceled all of my orders. I haven't made any new orders. And I also need to look at what I have here in the store, because people aren't going to events or special occasions. Even people who are getting married, they're just going to the courthouse now, or they're scaling it down so much. And people aren't going into work. And I have marked down pretty much everything I have in here is marked down. And some things I do have marked down to my cost. And so there's, how do you can't grow your business when you're not making enough income, because definitely with the shoe business, everything I put in it goes back into the business. And of course, to get more inventory, to get more shoes in. And so I have stopped all of that because I don't have any sales to support that. And I'm just trying to stay above water, paying all of my expenses with the building and with the business. Even all of the expenses with having a credit card processing and different things like that. It's so many other hidden costs that your people are not aware of to run a business, especially a retail store. And if you don't have sales are your everything. And I don't provide a service. Because I did get a lot initially when I opened back up after the emergency order was lifted. People wanted shoe repair, and I'm not that type of cobbler. And so I would just refer them to different ones in different parts of there's one in Annapolis and there's one in Upper Marlboro. And I would just refer them to different cobblers. But it's been an interesting journey. And I don't know where I'm going next. But if I decide to close my physical store, I will stay online and just try to continue to promote my business that way and using social media to grow my business and move forward that way. But currently, it's just not sustainable with the current level of sales that I have and the current environment with the healthcare and the public health pandemic that's going on right now. Omar? Some of the advice I would have is you just have to be adaptable and flexible. And with me having to pivot to e-commerce and pretty much think that's probably going to be my full-time way I'll be managing and selling my business. But the biggest thing is to be adaptable and flexible and being able to pivot is the biggest advice I can, and talk to people. It's amazing what you learn when you can talk to people and network. So I have gotten on so many different Zoom calls, and whatever business you have, join that trade association or whatever field you're in, join the chamber. It's really important to meet other business owners and definitely know that you're not alone. I did not get the PPP, and to this day, I cannot tell you why. I did get a couple of grants from the county had a grant. I did apply for an EIDL, the Economic Injury Disaster Loan from the Small Business Administration, and I got a grant from them. I declined pursuing the loan. I just did not want to get in any more debt. And after like I said, I never really got a response from the PPP. I just decided maybe that was a sign, I don't know. And so I did not pursue it anymore. And I really just did not want to get in any more debt. And you do have to make sure you have a good accountant, lawyer, because I used my legal representation to make sure all of my contracts, all of my lease, that was really important. Looked over all of that for me, and a good accountant for all of your tax things, because you really want to make sure everything is in order with all of that. And that's where, again, join the different groups and trade associations and whatever field you're in, connecting with other business owners, and even having a mentor is very, very important because they give you insight or contacts or something that can help you in some way, and you don't feel like you are alone out here, because it can be very lonely and very stressful, because you always are thinking about how much you have invested, and not just monetarily, but of your time and your effort and everything you have put into this to create something. And you want people to appreciate what you have done, because you're putting it out there in the world for people to support your business so that you can grow. And make sure you're connected and join the chamber, a trade association, and someone who is in your field that you can talk to and get advice, ask questions, learn. And even a lot of that, I think even more of that has been going on now since COVID, because a lot of conferences I would not have been able to attend, but I can attend them virtually. Because a lot of conferences, I couldn't just shut down my store and fly off to wherever. But now that you can attend them on Zoom or, Microsoft Teams or web, GoToMeeting or whatever, I have been able to attend even more things virtually that I would not have been able to attend in person. And so that's a big thing. And like, even with footwear, with me being in the shoe business, there's a lobbying group that is in footwear. So just depending on what industry you are in, because a lot of the footwear lobbying is about tariffs, because so much of our product does come from overseas. And so you'd be surprised at some of the things that are going on behind the scenes, and that you could be a big impact, or you need insight into, to help for you to know what decisions you may need to make and how you can pivot and grow your business. So that would be my best advice, is to make sure you're connected professionally in whatever field or specialty that you are in, so that you make sure you're going in the right direction and you can learn and pivot your business when the need arises. Thank you. My name is Maria Feaster. My company is Cobbler's Creations. Cobblers with an S, Creations with an S. My website is cobblerscreations.com. I'm on Facebook, Cobbler's Creations, Instagram, Cobbler's Creations Shoes, Twitter, Cobbler's Creations. And you can easily contact me from my website. I have a contact form on there. My email address is maria@cobblerscreations.com, Maria, M-A-R-I-A. Or you can call my store. You can search me on Google, Cobbler's Creations. And I would love to hear from you. Definitely love for you to buy some shoes. And just thank you for this opportunity.